Hiya, Angie here. I hope you're all doing good. Me? I'm just trying to survive this sweltering heat. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about those red flags that I believe that every woman should know about. Now, some of these red flags might not be the most common ones, the ones that you're not quite sure if they're red flags or not. You know, those ones that might slip underneath the radar and might not seem like a problem now, but later on down the line could prove to be a big problem. Those are the red flags that I want to talk about. Now, a red flag doesn't mean this is a really evil and bad person, danger, danger, run and hide. No, a red flags just mean be extra vigilant, keep your eye out. This is a warning, be careful, do your due diligence and investigate a little bit. Now, if you do that, you might realize that, you know what, this is actually a really good guy. Or it could be that he's someone that you really don't need to be around. Now, these red flags can be for men too, and I'll give an example of that later. But the truth is, I'm mainly here for the ladies. It is what it is. Now, if you're interested in this topic and you want to know more about these red flags, then you are definitely in the right place. So don't go anywhere. Now, the first red flag I want to talk about. If your special person keeps making promises and never keeps them, red flag. Now, we all make promises, right? And sometimes no matter how hard we try, we just can't fulfill them because life gets in the way and things come up and something that's unexpected comes up and we just can't do it. But we tend to feel bad about it and we try to make it up somehow. However, I'm talking about those people who continuously make promises and continuously let you down. They promise that they'll come around later and help you put up that IKEA bookshelf. They don't turn up. They promise you that they will accompany you to a friend's house for dinner. No show. They say that they will go to church with you and they never do. Those people who you just cannot make plans around, you just cannot rely on them. It says that everything is more important than you, that you will never be a priority. Now that would be a problem for me. Would it be a problem for you? Now, over the past few weeks, I have had the chance to read a lot of your comments. Some of you have even written to me personally. And a lot of you have made it clear that you are so done when it comes to relationships. You are over it and never again. That's fine. But there are some ladies, especially the younger ones, who want to find love. They want to find their special person. They want to get married. And to me, that's fine too. Everybody has the right to want what they want. Now, for me, a man who uses marriage as a way to control your behavior is a red flag. What do I mean by that? If he says something like after a big dinner, after a really good dinner, he sits back and he rubs his stomach and he says something like, you know what? If you keep cooking for me like that, then I might just have to ask you to marry me by the end of the year. Now you feel good and you think, okay, marriage is on the table. He's thinking about marriage at least. Then as soon as you do something that he doesn't like, he just switches and flips on you and says something like, you see, you keep doing ish like that. And that's the reason why I haven't asked you to marry me yet. He's playing cat and mouse with you. He's using marriage to taunt you. He's holding it over your head. He's holding it over your head because he knows that it's important to you. You know, that back and forth, dangling that carrot of a marriage in front of you to control you. And he wants to manipulate you into doing what he wants you to do and to be who he wants you to be. So if you are with someone who is doing that to you, at least I hope you recognize that it is a big red flag. Now for me, someone who 1 minute they're up and then the next minute they're down, their mood just swings from up and down and left to right, for me would be a red flag. You are constantly walking on eggshells because you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to get a happy him or an unhappy him. You don't know if he's going to be full of fun and laughter or someone who's just snapping at you and picking a fight. Now, I personally could not live like that. I could not be living on the edge and tiptoeing around someone because I don't know if he's going to explode on me. I could not be living on the edge. His emotions are all over the place. Now, it could be that he's using some kind of a drug and that's why he can't control his emotions. Or it could be mental issues. Or it could be something else. I don't know. But it's definitely something that I would keep an eye on. And it's probably something that I wouldn't really want to be around because I wouldn't feel safe. So if you're with someone and they have mood swings and inconsistent behavior, and if you don't want to be around that, make sure you're safe and that you can leave safely. And I would get the hell out of Dodge. Now, having a partner who is a little bit jealous is not necessarily a bad thing. It can be quite normal, right? And it can be kind of cute too. But having someone who is excessively jealous, that you are so scared that when you're outside, you just look straight ahead with your eyes wide open because you're afraid to look left to right, just in case he accuses you of liking someone or looking at someone, that for me is a red flag. Too much of one thing is good for nothing. Anything that's so excessive and over the top and he's jealous about everything and about everybody. He's jealous when you go to your family, even to go and have a Sunday dinner. He's jealous if you see your friends, your girlfriends, not to mention male friends. I personally wouldn't want to deal with that. Now, sometimes he might even start accusing you of cheating because he's jealous. Now, sometimes that can mean that he's the one that's cheating and he's projecting his behavior onto you. So maybe that's something that you might want to look into if you are constantly being accused of cheating. So yes, for me, excessive jealousy is definitely a red flag. That would be way too much stress for me and I couldn't deal with it. Could you? Now, someone who is always flattering you and is over the top with the compliments, to me is a red flag. Now, I'm sure that some of you are saying, Angie, what are you talking about? That's not a red flag. You can't win with some of you women. If you're too bad, you're bad. And if you're too good, you're good. Hear me out. It could be that he is just genuinely a really nice guy and he thinks the world of you and he wants to let you know just how wonderful you are. It could be. Now, if that's the case, well done, you've got a really good guy. It could also be that he's somebody who just doesn't like conflict. Or it could be that he's someone who's in love with love and has an idealistic way of how to be in love. And he thinks that flattering you non-stop is a good thing. But it could also mean that he's attention seeking and he wants to portray this perfect partner. Or it could mean that he is trying to lower your defenses. And when you're at your most vulnerable, that's when he pounces and does something that he shouldn't. I don't know, but when something is excessive, when it's something that is just too much and it makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable and it just reeks a little bit of insincerity, that for me would be a red flag. Would it be for you? Now, someone who depends solely on you for their happiness is a red flag. Now, to have someone want you, to have someone who needs you can be a good thing. But when it comes to the point where they erase themselves and their happiness depends solely on you being with them, oh, that's a big red flag. It creates an unhealthy dynamic. As I said in the intro, these red flags can be for men too. Case in point, a friend of mine, he was dating a beautiful woman. And at the beginning, it was like the phone calls, where are you? You know I can't sleep if you're not here beside me. I lose my appetite if you're not here. Those kind of things. And it began to become more and more excessive, to the point where he couldn't leave the house, because if he left the house on his own, she would be calling him non-stop. Where are you? I need you. I love you. And when he said, you know what, I need to take a break, I want to do something else, I need to work, she would threaten to harm herself. Until one day she did, and she ended up in the hospital. Now, of course, my friend, who is a good guy, he felt an enormous amount of guilt. But that's a whole lot of weight to carry on your shoulders. You can't be responsible for the life of somebody else in that way. It's not fair. And for a while, he felt obligated to stay with her because he was afraid of what she would do. Until ultimately, he had to call a family member who came and took her away and got her the help that she needed. So you know what? Be careful. When somebody is so excessively into you and needs you and wants you so much to the point, if you're not there, they can hardly breathe. It's not a good thing. That to me is a big red flag, and someone that I personally would let go sooner than later. Now, someone who is always the victim, no matter what happens, is always somebody else's fault. If he has a car accident because he backed into somebody, it's the other driver's fault. If he comes over to your house to cook for you and he burns the food, it's your fault because your pots heat up too much. If he gets fired, it's his boss's fault, not the fact that he's always late and he argues with everybody. No matter what happens, he's the victim. He takes responsibility for nothing. And that means also that he will never apologize. But why would he? Because it's never his fault. Someone like that I would find annoying. It would irritate the hell out of me. So yeah, for me, someone who lacks accountability, lacks awareness, and never accepts responsibility for anything is a big red flag. I would find them really hard to be around. I personally could not deal with it. It'd be too much for me. What about you? Now this one I can understand. If for some people it's not necessarily a red flag, but it is for me. And that is someone who is constantly seeking validation, always seeking reassurance, and always needs praise. Do you know how exhausting that is? Someone that no matter what they do, it's like, did I do good? Did I do the right thing? Is what you wanted, right? Did I buy the right thing? Are you happy with it? What do I get? From 1 to 10, how good did I do? Are you happy? Did I do good? Oh my God, this constant wanting to be packed on the back. That constant, oh, you're such a good boy. I couldn't deal with it. Honestly, I couldn't do it. I couldn't deal with it. I would be tired. It would be too much. It would be too much. And I know that we all need to be reassured at times. We all need to be praised, and we all want to be validated at some point or the other every now and again. But I'm talking about that constant. And I have met someone like that. And let me tell you something. It's not good. It's not pretty. Always needing to be reassured like that just shows that there's some deep-rooted insecurities that, quite frankly, I personally would not want to deal with. So yeah, for me, someone who's constantly seeking validation is a huge, tiring red flag. Someone who uses your past to hurt you and to undermine you. Definitely a big red flag. You're in the middle of an argument and he says something like, what do you know about family? You were adopted. Your parents couldn't wait to get rid of you. Something like that, which is painful and hurtful, and he will use it just to win an argument, just so that he can come out on top. Only a really horrible and mean person would do something like that, that is prepared to really hurt you just so that he can win. That is someone who I personally would stay far away from as possible. What about you? Now, someone who makes jokes and uses humor to insult you, red flag. If he's making jokes and laughing at you and hurts your feelings, that's not good. Now, when you're in a relationship, one of the things that I like and I like to be able to do, and that is to tease the person and also have that person tease me. It's good, right? That means that there's a certain amount of intimacy between you. There's a certain amount of trust and respect between you so that you can tease and laugh at each other. But there's a line that when it's crossed, when it becomes an insult, when it hurts your feelings, that's not a good thing. And if someone uses humor to mask insults, to hurt you and to hurt your feelings, red flag. An example of that would be something like, well, you know what? If cooking bad was an Olympic sport, you would win gold. It might just seem like a throwaway comment. It might be something that, you could laugh at. But when it's a continuous thing where he's laughing at you and making fun of you, or if you feel that your feelings are being hurt and you tell him that and he continues to do it, but when you hear things like that over and over and over again, it chips at your self-esteem, and he knows that. And a step above that is if he uses that same humor in public and tries to get other people to laugh at you. No, 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 no. You do not deserve that. And that to me just shows there's a certain kind of resentment there towards you, and he wants to put you in your place and he wants to bring you down a peg or two. That's really emotional manipulation. He's a mean person, and in some ways he wants to control and dominate you. So yes, someone who uses humor to get to you, to hurt you, definitely a red flag. Now, someone who is inflexible and refuses to compromise, red flag. It might not seem like much, but to me, it's a major deal. Now, someone very, very close to me, she met someone online, and within a short space of time, she invited him to come and live with her. This is not part of the red flags, but it's just like a little extra nugget that I would like to share, especially with you ladies, and that is, do not invite a man to come and live with you. Did you hear what I said? I said, do not invite a man to come and live with you. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Now, if you're thinking about marrying him, and if you've known him for a really long time, then okay, that's fine. But if it's someone that you've just met and you don't know him that well, do not put him in your house. So she invited him to come, and I questioned her. I gave her the third degree. Are you sure you know what you're doing? Have you thought about it? Have you thought things through? And she said that she did. So after a while, he came to live with her. Now, this is a man in his late 50s, early 60s. He had never been married and had never been in a long-term relationship. Red flag. He didn't have any family, and that's not his fault. He didn't have any family, that's fine. But when he did speak about the family that he had, it was always negatively. A red flag. Now, I don't know. Maybe they deserve to be spoken about badly. I don't know. But like I said, for me, a red flag. He didn't have any friends. Red flag. And all of his exes were crazy. I mean, screaming red flag. And so he moved in. Now, this person close to me, she and I, one of the things that we had in common is the fact that we love Christmas. Oh, we love Christmas so much. We're like two big kids. Absolutely adore Christmas. The Christmas tree and the lights and the presents and the fairy lights and the smell of chestnuts and everything about it. If I could put up a Christmas tree in September, I would. That's how much I love it. So of course he moved in and she told him about this. And he said that he hated Christmas. For him, it was the worst thing ever. It was just a money grab. He's not going to be a part of it. So she best not expect Christmas gifts because he's not doing it. He doesn't want to see Christmas trees. He doesn't want to see anything festive around him in her house. Let's remember that he was in her house. And she tried to speak to him about it, but there was no compromise whatsoever. Now, I know it sounds like a silly thing, right? It might not seem like a big deal, but to someone to be so inflexible over something which really wouldn't really cost him anything. Now, if somebody asks you to pack up and move with them to the other side of the country or to another country altogether, I can understand that that's a big deal and someone might say, I can't do that. Right? I have my family, I have my friends here, I have my home, my job. I can't do that. Although some people do for love. But I can understand it's a really big thing to do. But if you can't go outside and pick a flower to gift someone, you can't wake up on the 25th of December and turn around and say, Happy Christmas, baby. That's too much for you? Someone who's so rigid, someone who is so inflexible, someone who is so selfish. A big red flag. So there you have it. These are what I would consider red flags that you all need to know. Let me know in the comments below if these red flags resonate with you, if you've experienced them, or if you don't agree. Now, if you don't agree with them, that's fine. We don't always have to agree. We're all different and we all want different things, as long as we respect each other's opinions. Thank you so much for stopping by and keeping me company. It's always a pleasure seeing you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. But until then, be kind to yourself and to others. Take care. Bye for now. Ciao.